Oh my god, we can see the two portraits in the background. Let's go, Doc.
The mailman arrived today and brought me something quite interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
they just
and
arrived today, really, and look much better than I had hoped for, and I hoped for a lot. So this means something.
no, yeah, they look amazing. Well, I haven't seen the number six, but yeah, number one was amazing. Well, I'm sorry, guys. We didn't even say hi. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another show here at the Vivid Gallery Metaverse. I hope you are doing well, guys. Please, if you're already listening to this, like and retweet the show because today we are unveiling our first editions by DocT. I'm super happy that we finally managed to find a way of doing editions our own way with our own standards and everything. So yeah, pretty exciting. Well, Doc, how are you besides from receiving the best gift today?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Everything is good. The world is fine. Nothing to worry about. So, but in a nutshell, it is okay. It is. It is a good
Mhm.
okay from my end. Yeah.
Uh, aren't you worried that your ordinals may be censored on the Bitcoin blockchain? No, that's okay.
Well, it is interesting what's happening on the timeline. I am trying to follow these conversations, with my self-taught technological insights, which are yeah, but it's as far as I see it from what I read. First of all, there is no consensus among Bitcoiners or any core developers just yet. So
No, 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 there is not.
um, I don't think that that will be reached at some point. I do what I like about the discussion, though. To be fair, is I do think we won't see a ban of any sort.
No.
Like that, there will. It's too difficult to get this kind of consensus and everyone adopting new node software at once. But I do think that maybe we'll see some more these incremental limits or policies rather than a full ban, which
Mm.
you know I could see something. I read something the other day which suggested, well, maybe a way to go about it is to just have some more limits on how much inscription data is allowed per transaction or per block, something like that.
Yeah, the thing
Which
is, they
brings us
can
back
make it harder, but they can't really limit that. Otherwise, it's
exactly, and making it harder. I mean, the fact that it's hard is why most of us who like to work on the Bitcoin medium
true.
work with the Bitcoin medium. Because it's hard, because you have to put thought in it and tinker around and somehow make it work despite all these limitations. So for me, it's actually a bull signal that things are just going to get more interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, we'll see, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic. We're letting people talk about that. You are creating art that somehow connects to that, so so that's what we are going to talk about today. And yeah, guys, so today we're unveiling the first edition. So what do I mean by editions? It's this. Maybe you know them about like prints. I know that some people are doing prints using the Gamma platform, for example. But here, what we call editions, it's the same artwork, but repeated in this particular collection, 100 pieces. But each one of them is numerated with the numbers 100 to 1 to 100, and here we did it in our own way, in a special way, and I'm really happy with the results. Like all the digits are extremely well integrated. I've taken the time today to check the 100 artworks just in case there is a problem, but no. And this collection is called the Weapon of Mass Liberation. So, Doc, this is a piece that you shared a long time ago, right? I'm gonna put it here in the screen. Like, just give me a sec. But yeah, if you can just tell us a little bit how you created it and how we ended up releasing this collection today.
Yeah, so the lore behind this particular work is pretty significant. I made a post on X, like a GM post or something of this sort, where I just had this work which I had cooked up some time ago, and I just wrote "Weapon of Mass Liberation," nothing else. Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful green screen there.
No, just me playing a little bit.
And well, the post blew up on Twitter quite a bit. So it was nice to see, a reaction to that. And then we actually used this piece where we just saw a little snippet of, and there it is, on the website Vivid and you kindly built for our Portraits of Dissonance collection, which you can see in the background, two pieces here. And the again, the response was quite significant, and I think people saw the website and reached out to you and asked if that work
Yeah,
was available.
it wasn't
I was
exactly this.
contacted.
Every time I was showing the website to someone, they were saying, "Oh, I want this one in the collection." I said, no, this is not part of the Portraits of Dissonance collection. But they were like, "Okay, maybe this is the perfect fit for our first editions," because we had this idea for a long time, but weren't sure exactly on how to do it. Because when we are doing generative art, it's like doing editions, but every output is unique, even if what you're selling it's the collection, it's the algorithm, so it's a little bit the same, but here with the same piece.
There is a lot of beauty. And then we had another live stream some time ago
Oh
where
yeah.
Machine also joined us. Shout out to Machine if he's watching. He also said, "Yeah, this is a great piece, and you should do something with it." So, yeah, we kind of followed the audience here, which I think for something like that,
Yeah.
with the theme of art being the weapon of mass liberation, that the idea to actually put this artwork or make it something people can enjoy and actually mint, that this is something that actually came from the audience,
Mm.
just makes it even more and much stronger in terms of the message which is underlying here.
Yeah, I agree, and I understand the collectors and the community that follows you on X. It's a great artwork, man. Like I think that everyone that sees it from the beginning, they understand the message that you have behind it, and it looks really nice. So yeah, congratulations on this. And it's funny because it was meant to, I used it for to illustrate some part of the Portraits of Dissonant website. So everything is connected in your universe. That's what I like. And yeah, well, please tell us exactly then what's behind, like the concept or the message that you want to transmit over that piece.
Well, it's like so often with my work. You have this thought, it just crosses your mind, or you just think about something, and it takes you to some place, and then you just tinker around on your computer and create something. And I mean, with this, it was pretty much the same. But the thought I was having there, this idea of art being this weapon of mass liberation,
Mm-hmm.
it's very straightforward, right? So it is, of course, something where I mean, everyone creates art in a very different way. For me, I kind of see my role as an artist, self-assigned role, just being an observer of our contemporary world, uh, reflecting on what's happening, commenting about it via my art and my work. Maybe at times trying to imagine alternatives and introducing them to the public for discussion. And I think with art, particularly using Bitcoin or the blockchain as a medium, there is a very strong statement behind it in terms of the cultural undercurrents of this technology. So I think what this work, a lot of work, or artists who embrace Bitcoin or AOB or however you want to phrase it, ordinals, we have, I think, all this understanding that the technology is not just a financial tool. There is so much more attached to it. There are huge social, economic, financial shifts, which
Mm-hmm.
are, very inseparable from this whole thing. And
Yeah.
when you use that as a canvas, of course, you try to use this whole core concept of the technology and somehow infuse it into the work you want to create. And of course, art has always been some kind of mirror of society, a way to challenge powers, particularly during such times where the corridor seems to be getting narrowed more and more by what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to write, what you're allowed to post, what the consequences of that are, with lots of algorithms censoring stuff, government stepping in,
Everywhere.
legislation.
It makes me think of what's happening in the UK. Well, what they the artwork that they censored, and it's pretty funny, you know.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed that Banksy saw this work on my timeline and decided to make his graffiti painting there. I mean, we're just in contact very, irregularly, but
Mhm.
it was great to be the inspiration here, if I may say.
No, but
Uh,
it's crazy that this is happening, and also what you are saying. People are now also maybe thinking of Bitcoin as another medium, with other functionalities. And I saw, of course, in my timeline, because I follow a lot of ordinals people are all saying, "Oh yeah, you should inscribe it on Bitcoin, not use it, not only transmitting it on Instagram, because that's where I believe it's still there. I think that the image, the picture, it's still there on Instagram, but the government, the UK government, blocked it, IRL. I mean, but maybe Instagram will also do the same. But people were inviting, saying, "Oh yeah, it'd be funny to have it on Bitcoin." So I think that people are also realizing that this can be used for that. And until now, I don't think that we see a lot of people using Bitcoin for this. I also think that even if people know that this is on Bitcoin, etc., it's also such you know like it's a confrontation. Even if you are doing it on Bitcoin, you're still afraid of the consequences that you can have, and the fact that you cannot delete it once it's on Bitcoin. Maybe it's also a barrier for most of people saying, "Oh yeah, I could send a message, a controversial message on the Bitcoin blockchain and show it just like as an artwork," but you are still facing the consequences. Maybe we'll see. What do you think?
there's a lot attached to that, and I think that's where ordinals tie into a tradition of art movements, which
Hmm.
pretty much followed that path for pretty much the same reasons. I mean, if you can look at, you know, depending on how far you want to go back, yeah. But if you look at, for example, I'm in Germany, so we had this artist club or society, or however you want to call it, called the Brücke, or the bridge.
The brick.
So that was in a way, dissident art. That was like, around the world wars, and artists who really used their art to warn about, the consequences of this very harsh early industrialization, the militarization of our society,
Hmm.
and the suffocation of the individual and these authoritarian sort of state mechanisms that were gradually building up and being deployed here. You had the Cold War, of course. You have the whole genre of dissident art, if you
Hmm.
like. The Chinese democracy wall posters, artists, using underground channels to somehow bring out truths that their regimes try to suppress, and they're still doing that today, right? Under risking everything. And then, of course, here in the West, we had our famous graffiti art with Banksy, what we just talked about,
Hmm.
where we say, all right, we'll just taking things more to the public space. And I think Bitcoin, in a way, extends that idea into the digital space. So the blockchain, if you want, from the graffiti artist's perspectives, that's the new wall. Only that no one can paint over it or just wash it away. This
Yeah.
ridiculous act they just did there over
And
in the
that's
UK.
its strength. But the problem right now, it's more the visibility, because okay, we can say that it's there on the blockchain, but who actually checks the inscriptions? For now, it's only the people who follow certain projects that are going to see, "Oh yeah, this has been inscribed." There are so many inscriptions that are inscribed that I don't think that no one is really following every inscription. From time to time, you also have an influencer or whatever that says, "Oh my God, somebody inscribed this collection, let's pump it," whatever. But if you inscribe a controversial message, a controversial artwork today, uh, it, I think that nobody's gonna see it unless you also share it on X or whatever. But that's the difficult part, and I don't see if we need to find a solution for this. But maybe there are already some very controversial messages on the blockchain on ordinals.
Well, I think one must be very aware that even though we are using tech and mediums that have the potential to be seen by the whole world,
Hmm.
art is never seen by the whole world, like in no
Of
capacity,
course,
never. So
but
of course you always have to somehow funnel people or channel them into seeing it. But just having something which where you have the time to actually direct people towards before it gets taken down or something like that,
Hmm.
that's an advantage already
Yeah,
for any kind of political art, which might be a bit controversial, or depending on where you live, even associated with legal implications for you. So I think having that kind of backup security, that it's just not getting taken down immediately, but it's still there. There's value in that, because then you open up the time axis and you just have
that's true.
more
The
time
the time is
to
on your side, but you still have to find a way to, yeah, to give visibility to because otherwise,
yeah,
if you don't want people to know that it's you because you don't want to face the consequences, you cannot just say, "Oh yeah, look at what's inscribed," but it's not me. So,
yeah. But let's see how long that goes. I mean, anonymity is, of course, is a brilliant and superb and highly comfortable protective layer.
yeah.
But I think if things gain too much traction, eventually,
Mm.
probably everyone has to decide if they want their anonymity to remain intact, or if they, dox themselves for the purpose
Oh,
of
they will
putting.
certainly don't use parent child, huh? So, and I know of some
Probably not.
that won't be happy.
Probably not. That's
Yeah,
a
but
different
that can also
discussion
work
yet
like this.
again.
Actually, it's a good way because if you start using parent child, if for example you follow everything that I said in the show that I did about the future of provenance, you have your artist seal, your anonymous artist seal, of course, but you start inscribing every artwork, every controversial message below that. Well, suddenly you got the visibility also checked because now once you are famous once, every time that you inscribe something new, people will be able to follow that way easier. And
No,
that,
I think that's a very strong argument for parent-child yet again,
mm,
because it's the new Google search bar. If you want,
exactly,
you
on
have the
check, yeah.
artist field, like in our case here, and you can just open up sort of the artist's little wiki
Yeah.
about everything they did or associated with. And
Hmm. Exactly.
again, I think that's getting more and more important. I think, yeah.
Hmm. Okay, well, so then the weapon of mass liberation is also about this. It's funny because it also enters in the actual context. We talked about where it comes from. So thank you also, Machine, for inviting us to do this and way more people. But yeah, let's just talk about the particularity because people have seen different prints editions already on Bitcoin. It's not something new. For also people who understand, usually what people do is they inscribe the actual artwork and they're going to delegate or copy the information or just reference to the artwork. And basically, what you're going to have is just a copy of it or a reference to another inscription, which is kind of funny also when we talk about links and everything. But here we wanted to do something a little bit different and not only mentioning the edition number uh, in the metadata or on a website or whatever, but here also directly on the artwork. And that's where you worked with Pierrot to include that in the brush. It's not only in one of the angles. It's directly in the artwork and it fits perfectly. So let me just show an example. Here is the actual inscriptions. So fresh from today, guys. I hope that you followed the the artist seal so you can discover that before everyone else. But yeah, here, so we have the editions. We're going to talk about the provenance and all the structure after that with a special guest. But yeah, let's look at this. So these are the final artworks. Okay, so as you can see here, I just took the first edition, edition 1 out of 100. So you have the information on the metadata, like most of people used to do. But here we also decided to include it in the artwork. So that's what you can see here on the brush. I don't know if I would like to zoom a little bit, but I would need to take the inscription. But yeah, here on the brush, you can see the number 1 out of 100, and I love how the 100 is included, with the yellow paint over it. So yeah, can you just explain us the process, please? Because I know that you have done those digits and you've worked with Pierrot, so maybe you can explain it better than me.
Sure. So first of all, editions is like not my traditional form of working. Always shying away from those a bit.
Hmm.
But here, you know, if you can try something new, it becomes interesting. You want to tap your toes into that. So the idea was, or the basic idea was to have an edition that works with the fundamentals of ordinals. First of all,
Hmm.
that was like the overall heading and mission. And then the kind of solution we thought after was to not have an edition like one of, I don't know what, XK Max Pains, and then you see like a little number in the text and the metadata describing the number or something like that, but to actually make the fact that this is an edition part of the artwork. Just be very open about it, very, you know, straightforward about it. um, Also signaling that you know, you are one of 100 who, you know, aligned and around this particular work and the message it carries. Because again, and that's sort of circling back a bit to the motivation behind it. You know, we see a lot of, oh, you know, the ordinals and the art market and everything is difficult at the moment. And while I fully embrace, you know, all these considerations and think that they are important to kind of follow along to a degree, again, my motivation, where I'm coming from, is this whole ecosystem, its evolution as a real cultural movement. And having a kind of statement piece like this out there is kind of the question. Well, are you able to rally behind this message that
Hmm.
what we're doing here is an extremely powerful tool? uh, Creation is the most beautiful and perhaps strongest form of sovereignty an individual can have, and that's what this work is about. So we said, let's put the number in. We had, you know, several different options. We thought about having a little white number just above my signature. Then
I didn't
I
like that.
tried something where it looked, you know, more engraved, and said, "Nah, do something painterly." And then I just painted those kind of numbers, if you like. Like what I usually do in these kind of works, it's this AI collage technique, if you like. And I talked about it before. I use like Photoshop, but also Corel quite a bit, which has beautiful digital oil brush strokes for these, you know, more thick painterly layers. Basically the same tooling I use for these two fellows over
Yeah.
here. It's really pretty much the same technique, and then you kind of assemble it all and collage it together to have this one, you know, very pure image in terms of the statement it carries. Yeah.
Hmm. No, and it looks amazing. I see. I think that the final result is perfect because the other solutions, you can notice them, but only if you know also where to look. But here, it changes from the original artwork. Let's say when there wasn't the edition numbers, you can clearly see. And it's funny because you're also saying that here we all have our own brush. Every brush is different, but we all wear it in the same way, and that's what I like about this thing. So yeah, I really believe that it is a great way of showing the edition numbers and the provenance. Because I asked ChatGPT, you know, what's important when you're doing also editions, what matters the most, and he told me like 6 points. First, the clear edition control, you know, mark each piece clearly, and I believe that this is not something that was done with the like many of the editions that I've seen. You can't clearly see which one you're getting it. Of course, if it's on Magic Eden or on Gamma, you can see in the title, but not directly in the artwork as you would see in an IRL edition in a print where you see the number. So I think that we solved that. He told me also about the artist's hand and uniqueness, you know, like having the numbers created by the artist, and that's also what you did. So it's perfect. Um, that's a great thing. Also, the story and the provenance. So everything is also included in the metadata. So another check, and the provenance, of course, thanks to the parent child and everything. And
Yeah,
then
and
he
shoot,
said,
shoot out it again to
"Sorry?
Pierrot, really. If you zoom in, we even
Yeah, I
integrated
need
the little
to.
paint sphere over it, like over the number 100.
Let me show
Um,
you. Up.
You have it
Exactly.
integrated even better.
Up, if I have this one, I know that's the basic one, but I have another. I think that's the 100. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna zoom on it. How can I do that? Oops. Let me crop it, and I'm gonna add it
Sure,
because otherwise it's gonna take the whole thing.
sure. But that's the beauty, when you work with these new visual mediums. Sometimes you just need a very tiny little swoosh, um, and things just look x-fold better than before. Yeah,
Yeah. Up. Let's go here.
here it
Okay.
is, beautiful.
Up. Yeah, no, and it's perfect. And what I was saying just before also about this yellow paint that goes over it, that's a very nice touch too. Uh, but yeah, it looks like really integrated. So yeah, we checked everything that chat told us that was important, and it made me think that thanks to Bitcoin, there are already a lot of things that are done, and that's what's cool about editions because I I wasn't a big fan of editions until a couple of years ago because I was always like, oh yeah, how can you say that if it's a true one and it's not? I think that people weren't giving enough importance to them, but when I think of how we can do them on Bitcoin, it actually makes a lot of sense, and it's extremely cool because you have everything solved directly. You know, provenance, metadata, and here now the clear edition numbering. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see if how people will respond this to, because we are, of course, in this artist space as well. So you always look left and right, like what are other people doing and so on. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this, because again,
I
it's
think
very
so.
simplistic in a way, but it
Yeah.
also solves a lot. And I mean, again, we could go into this with much more detail about how it uses the recursions and how everything's embedded and these
Hmm.
different parent
That's what we're gonna
layers
talk about.
you've created there. Yeah,
Yeah, no, but that's the difference because I also have to acknowledge that artificial did something like this. I think that he also has every number also inscribed like the digit, and he uses the recursion, and that's great, you know. And
yeah,
what we did here, it's a little bit different because instead of having every digit, every number inscribed, we use recursion to optimize everything and only inscribing the digits, not every number up to 100, but really inscribing only the from 0 to 9, and just connecting everything together on the right in the right area to save space and to include everything just as if we inscribed every number. I don't know if I'm clear, but I'm going to show that on the provenance here, and maybe it's time to have our special guest. So because I wanted to show that with our special guest, he's someone. Oh my God, what happened? Ah, okay. Uh, we wanted to invite a special guest to talk about the provenance, so we couldn't think about someone better than Base Chain, who is always shouting and and exciting people over parent-child provenance. So let's see if he's here. Let me just add uh, 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 this here, and I'm gonna add his image. Base Chain, are you here? Can you unmute yourself? We're gonna talk about provenance. We're gonna like it. Let me ping him. Let's go. Uh, but yeah, let's show what I was explaining because I'm not sure if I've been very clear. But the idea was to only inscribe the digits. You need to unmute me. No, you are the one who needs to unmute. It says that you are the one muted. Uh huh. Negative. Okay. And now we are.
Hello.
Perfect. Let's go.
there we are.
Sorry, it was myself. Let's go.
GM Captain, GM Doc, how we doing?
GM.
Jam.
Doing great.
Man, I tell you, I see this here. I see you guys innovating, and I'm just gonna quote somebody from yesterday in a pretty special space that I was listening to. But my heart breaks into 1,000 pieces every time I see someone inscribing
Oh,
without a parent.
who was that? Leonidas, yeah? No, yeah, Leonidas.
Yeah, that was Leonidas
Mm.
yesterday in the Bitcoin Art Society
Yeah.
space where CyberC made some really big moves and pushed parent-child forward. And wow, yeah, I'm just looking. I've always liked editions, and I've collected a few editions early on, but I just don't ever really feel a connection to the editions. And maybe part of that is because they are all the same, and there is usually no provenance.
Hmm.
So to see that you guys came in and inscribed all these numbers individually, I was looking for this that you're showing under assets.
Yeah, let me
I
give me
see
a
the,
sec. Up like this. But yeah,
okay,
here it is. So yeah, I wanted to show all the provenance because I know that for you it's very important. As you said, it's becoming more normal that people start using it. So I wanted to show exactly how we did it. And here you have the assets that allow us to create every individual edition. So of course you have the original artwork. So that's the one. But you also have every digit from 0 to 9, the slash and the hashtag.
that's awesome, man. I don't know where the inspiration came from to do this and to make them all unique, but that's exactly what you've done here and added also the metadata fully on chain with each edition. I mean,
Mhm.
you guys, you don't skip anything, and I think when we're looking for innovators and we're looking for people that are showing us the way, if you will. I mean, this is it. Like, it doesn't get any better than this for editions, and I don't know if it's easy to replicate or what went into it
Yeah,
from
it's
a
pretty
technical.
easy. No, it's pretty easy. Well, the big complexity here for someone that doesn't know exactly how to code is to integrate those in the artwork, and of course also maybe inscribing everything together depending on the amount of editions that you want to do. But here, that's what I was explaining and trying to illustrate with the difference. I know that, for example, artificial inscribed every number, and not only every number, every like every edition mark, one out of 52. I don't remember exactly how many, but instead of doing that, also to first make you the inscriptions cheaper for you. That's very important, but also to save the data from what we're inscribing on Bitcoin. And it goes with the conversation that we're having at first. People are complaining about people inscribing too many JPEGs and too much data on Bitcoin. We're also respecting that because we understand this, and I think that people from ordinals should not only saying, "Oh yeah, please allow me to do that," and stop trying to censor me, but also understanding that the fact that inscribing too much data is not a good thing either for the blockchain. Maybe trying to find the right compromise on how you do it, and that's what we wanted to show also with this thing, because you only need the 9 digits and maybe a few other elements, but you can create as many editions as you want after that, because you only need to call each individual digit and to position it perfectly well in the original artwork. Yeah.
And that's a really good point, and I wish that people were more in tune with that. Bitcoin block space is extremely valuable,
Hmm.
and I think the more the artists and the devs respect that block space, the more acceptance we're going to get within the people that are
Hmm.
trying to fight it. I don't know where the flexing came from to inscribe these huge files. Like, to me, that's just the opposite of what I want to see. I want to see people doing things efficiently with a small footprint, um, thinking outside the box. And you guys have just nailed it here. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so let me also show then the rest, because that's also, I think, the remaining important part. Because when you are doing editions like this, and when it's not generative art, you first need to inscribe the original artwork. And I guess that people are confronted to this question every time. What do I do? Do I link the original artwork also to my seal somehow, or only the editions? What we decided to do is to connect everything. So here you have the main parent of the collection that has the metadata about what we are doing. Okay, the title, the description, a little bit what DocT was telling us before, with both parents, DocT seal and the gallery seal. And we decided to have this sub seal for the assets, so everything is tied to the artist and the gallery seal. That's a choice. I don't necessarily think that this is important, because what's most important is that the editions are linked to the parents, because that's what collectors definitely want. But yeah, I also think that it's an interesting touch, just to have everything organized, because in any case you have to inscribe the original artwork before to be able to reference it and add the edition numbers. So I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think, Base Chain, about this? Do you think that everything should be linked to the seal, or can you just have like the raw material uh, free in the blockchain?
Well, I mean, obviously, the more that's linked to the seal, the better.
Hmm.
But I don't think it would be a deal breaker to have, some of the raw material just random one of one inscriptions. I mean, that's the case with most of the 100 million inscriptions anyway. So I don't think it's a big deal for you guys to, not have everything linked to the chain. But from a purist standpoint, I think having as much linked to the parents as possible
Hmm.
is ideal, and that also makes it easy for collectors to find these things and to reference them.
True.
It's
No,
for me, I
that's
was
what we
able to
did it,
see.
because I think that it's interesting for people to look at everything what composes the artwork, and not only through the recursion. I know that, for example, on Magic Eden you'll be able to see the recursive endpoints, but I also think that it's cool to see how everything was inscribed, and yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you. That's the most important part, but not for the provenance, because at the end of the day, those assets are going to be burned, and nobody's going to have them. So who cares where do they come from? But it's more for this discoverability. Why do you laugh?
Well, just the burning of the assets and the burning of the parents, and I just think that that's
Important.
going to be a conversation that we're going to have down the road. I think we're way too early for that today for most people to grasp, but certainly down the road, I want
You
to see
think
some
so?
assets burned. So yes, yes, I do think so.
Hmm. That's really important. But yeah,
I
that's the
think
final step.
not doing so kind of removes the key point here, right?
Yeah.
Like you leave the door open just too wide to be accepted. And I think, and again, when you look at the anatomy of this whole structure here, and of course you can always debate on how much things have to be tied together or not, but working also with Vivid and being part of this moment in time where Vivid and my humble self and Base Chain and others, I mean, our discussions and the way we act, what we do, how we process these things, that's kind of shaping what's going to be the outcome of it. So, I mean, if you choose the kind of a lane in which to drive, and you say, well, I want to make this as technically, you know, have all the technical finesse in there, and adhere to the standards as they are today, not yesterday, not the day before yesterday, but today. If that's something you kind of enjoy, and you consider important, then I think the structure is the way to go. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Doc, that's you hit on something really important there, and for people to recognize that, ultimately there have to be demonstrators of it, which is what you and David and a few others are doing. But more importantly than that, we need collectors to recognize that. And once we have a large enough base of collectors that are recognizing technical excellence in their inscriptions, this is Bitcoin. This is the luxury chain. Why do we want to skip steps? Why do we want to just be simply inscribing JPEGs and PNGs on the mother chain. Let's do something that can't exist anywhere else. And to me, it's a no-brainer. But we're going to need a lot more education. We're going to need a lot more tooling, and
Mhm.
more important than that, we're going to need people to continue talking about these things. As painful as these discussions can be over time, you and my in my intro, Captain,
You have
I
experience.
felt a little bit, yeah, I felt a little bit of what you were saying there, and call me the parent-child man if you will, but if I'm not going to talk about it, well, who is going to talk about it? And I think that group of people is still relatively small, but that's what it takes to drive change, is to say that there are people that appreciate these nuances. There are people that appreciate the attention to detail, and let's make art for those people that appreciate it, and then let those people turn around and build a secondary audience, if you will, of appreciators that are going to come in and see the same things that we did.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, I did.
Absolutely, of course. You know, everyone grows into it. These kind of things, right? So I remember Girard when we were in Paris. Like we had this little vivid gallery stand. It was really nice, and tons of people came by and asked about what we were doing. Usually, the conversation started with, "What is a sat?" So that's kind of where we were
True.
at the moment. But again, I mean, just look at myself, right? In base chain, we have a shared history here. I kind of bumped into all this fully on chain stuff, and then you were, at the forefront of pushing me and pointing me into the direction of just making me aware of parent-child in the first place. So going
Yeah.
back to my brain on chain, if it hadn't been for your voice, for example, the likelihood of this being not within the parent-child framework would have been like close to 100%. So thanks for keeping the conversation up and talking about it. I know things can get a bit controversial about it, but then again, if it
Yeah.
comes to what people consider a good quality standard, it's okay to have strong opinions about it,
Yeah.
I think.
It has become so controversial that when we were thinking about doing the editions and everything, we're talking about, okay, how do we do the structure? How many are we doing, etc., etc. And at one point we talk, and what about if we do like 1,000 editions without no parent, automated mint, etc. And you were like, no, 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 I don't want base chain to to put a cross on me. Please, please, I want base chain
You
as a
rampage
collector.
through my DMs. Yeah. But you see that's how much influence you have on people's mind now.
That's true, huh?
Right?
True
So, but
story.
again, in a positive way, and I mean, literally everyone who's running into this is new to this in one way or the other. And I'm not counting 2 years as a particularly lengthy period to really accumulate tons of experience, unless you're doing nothing else all day long. So again, having these kind of conversations and allowing people to run into this information of this existing at all, of having these options, I think that's the mission for the moment. Yeah.
No, that exactly. That's the mission. And even if it's extremely early, there are some people that take advantage, like you. You already have 5 inscriptions linked to your seal. Congratulations. And
Insane,
just
right?
look
So
at this.
suddenly there is a body
It's
of
very
work. It's on the mother chain.
But
It's
that's super
insane.
cool. That's like having your link tree, but on chain with all the metadata, and it's there forever. And it looks very nice, for people that don't know about you, or they discovered you through the weapon of mass liberation, or they go to your show and say, "Oh, what is this? Oh my
But,
God, my brain on
but
chain.
that's
Let's go!"
actually
Super
what's
cool.
happening. Like when I talk to friends or family and they want to see what I've been working on, I actually don't go via my link tree. I go via my artist seal,
That's cool.
and then
That's
go
cool.
down into the collections. That's precisely how I'm showing people in my personal life who are interested what I'm
Hmm.
working on.
No, that's very cool. So yeah, I really think that people should explore this and also experiment a little bit on how to do edition, how to play with parent child. But yeah, very nice. Well, I'm happy that base chain. Is it base chain approved? Perfect. Can you say it, please, in front of everyone?
100% base chain approved.
Let's go. Uh, okay, so now there are a lot of people that don't want to collect your stuff, DocT. I'm sorry, because base chain also has a lot of enemies.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
uh, but yeah, no, thank you for this. Well, let's talk a little bit because this was an introduction show. We just wanted, we just finished this today, so we wanted to talk about it. But the idea is we're going to talk a little bit more next week, and yeah, this is going to be released in partnership with Gamma. We wanted to do something with them for a long time, and after months of just trying to find a way, we finally decided to do this together. So this is going to be available on Gamma. We're not sure exactly on the details. We want to do this next Thursday. That's the idea. In anyway, we will talk about that on Discord and everywhere. So just stay tuned. But yeah, 100 editions available through the Gamma platform. And I believe that, Doc, you're going to be mentioned in the newsletter. You're going to do a show also with Brett. We also want to do a show with Brett and Nick and everything, just to talk a little bit about art on Bitcoin, what Vivid does, what Gamma does, and yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
I'm very much looking forward to that. I did have a very good conversation with Brett some time ago. I think it's almost a year ago or something. But
Mm-hmm.
with this, I know a lot of people who are within this Gamma ecosystem, and I know a lot of people who are within the Vivid ecosystem. Of course, there is crossover, but I mean we're all working on within the same realms, right? On the
Mm-hmm.
same medium, taking maybe different approaches here and there. But I think it's nice to have something unifying, like
Mm-hmm.
cross gallery platform artists. Again, I think this kind of architecture of collaboration mirrors pretty well what this artwork is all about.
Mm-hmm. Not true. I agree. Up. Let me show it again once more. The editions. Super cool. I love them. Uh, let's go 70. Oh no, I wanted 69. Shit. Wow. But
That's
yeah,
what's on my screen here.
uh, but yeah, okay. So guys, stay tuned for this. We're gonna make the announcements next week. Now the collection is ready, and yeah, we'll check with Gamma on how we do this. Regarding the pricing, as we're experimenting, this is something completely new for us. We're thinking about something around $50 in total with the Gamma fees and everything per edition, something very affordable. I don't know how it's gonna go because 100 editions at that price, I believe a lot of people will want them. I will buy one for sure anyway. But yeah, we'll see. And my idea for the whitelist is to first give access to DocT collectors, of course, with the Gamma season pass holders. We want to have the best holders from Gamma, and then depending on that, if there is any remaining piece, we will allow everyone from Vivid. But there is only 100 editions, so already with DocT collector, that makes a lot of potential editions also. We'll see. It's an experimental, okay? So if you don't get one, we will do more editions, and I guess with DocT too, because your work is perfect for editions. So yeah, I'm very glad that we have you. It feels like I'm doing generative art again, and for Pierrot, he's doing that positionment of the digits. So for him, it's also the same thing. It's pretty cool.
But you are, and that's fantastic,
Mhm.
man, because it's just it would be so easy, and we've seen it over and over again where an artist makes an edition and all of a sudden there's, 500 copies of it out there, but
Yeah.
there's no distinction, there's no Bitcoin nativity to it, if you
Hmm.
will. And here you guys go, man, you inscribe these numbers and you're putting them on the brush, and now I legitimately have a one of one piece, even
Exactly.
though it's
Mhm.
an addition. So yeah, let's go.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think that also that's going to be interesting for people to trying also to get their favorite number or whatever, because it's not only in the edition title on Magic Eden or on Gamma, it's in your artwork, and that makes it different, I guess, for collector.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sure
I think
does.
the gesture is the same, but as Gerard pointed out, the brushes, they're individual. And I think, yeah, that's who we are.
I agree. It's kind of an artwork that unites everyone, and it's funny that we're also doing that in partnership with Gamma. So everything has a meaning behind this artwork. I love it.
It does, and I like, we did that, My Brain on Chain started it, and then we had
Yeah.
these 30 My Brain on Chain collectors, and then we worked with those on our portraits of dissonance and the co-curation
So now
and the
you're
co-creation.
rallying your own army. That's what you are
And
saying.
now we're expanding that to 100. So I really enjoy that kind of thing. Again, I also very much enjoy that amongst the MBOK collectors and the machine in particular, again, it was sort of from that base that is forming around my work that this idea really was, pushed over the edge of execution to actually go with it. Yeah.
So cool.
Well, speaking of it, and if I could just interrupt really quick, I know you guys are trying to wrap up, but I want people to be aware of something that is available, and perhaps look to maybe include these collectors as well. But DocT has what I believe is an incredible collection on Ethereum. It's fully on chain. It's called Revisiting Elsewhere, Daydreamer's Diary, and it's on ETH L1. But I haven't mentioned this because I want it, but there is an animated piece from that collection that is still available for sale. So if you have no exposure to DocT on Bitcoin, which most people don't, just know that he has an incredible collection, which is how I was introduced to his art, myself and Scotch Fox and a few other Vivid collectors pretty much bought these up. But there's one piece that's kind of laying out there and it's waiting for a bid and it's very reasonably priced. So I would implore anyone that wants some exposure to DocT and his art to go look for that piece. It's called Mentalgia, Mentalgia, and it's
Let me put
available
it
on
here.
Foundation. Yeah, let's put it
Great.
up.
Up. Because you know what else is coming to Bitcoin? Look at the screen. For those who
Ooh.
follow the seal, they knew about it, and there is already
Awesome.
one child.
Every
Wow.
story needs its chapters, but much appreciated, Base
uh,
Chain there for pointing to
I
that.
believe it's this one, right? Okay. Oh yeah. So this one, Mentalgia available. Oh, okay. We
There
won
it
it.
I
is.
mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean,
It's a
that's
great
it's
art.
going right into his brain, and I've hesitated to mention this as being available because I kind of want it for myself. I don't have one of the animated pieces, even though I have three out of the 24 of this collection. But if somebody's out there that's listening that wants exposure to fully on-chain art on Ethereum from Doc, I think this is an amazing opportunity, and perhaps it won't last long.
For sure. And it's cool because I know that a lot of people, as you say, want to get exposed to DocT's art. When we release POD, Portraits of Dissonance, I received some messages like, "Oh my God, I hope I can get it. I always wanted a piece from DocT." So maybe also the weapon of mass liberation is the perfect entry because I don't think that there will be a lot of pieces from DocT at that price. It's an experiment, but it's a great experiment. I love it. So yeah, if you want a piece from DocT, don't miss that because even if it's an open like an editions, I don't believe that people will list a lot on secondary. So we'll see. I'll make sure that you have one base chain. Okay, don't worry.
Oh, you're the best, man. And that's something else that's really important because it gets, I don't know, it's a bit misused here, but really the top collections on Bitcoin, it's you're not going to see a lot of trading
Hmm.
activity in those
I agree.
collections, and kind of like Doc T's My Brain on Chain, like nobody wants to sell that. Why would I sell this piece? Like this is iconic, Of course, it's not going to be high volume. How are we going to be trading this amongst each other? So I think we need to get, as collectors, we really need to get away from that metric for valuing collections just because it has tons of volume. Well, if something has tons of volume, that just means to me that people they just can't. They're not that connected with the work. If
Hmm.
you can trade these like baseball cards, then you're not that connected to it. So I think that
I agree.
For a lot of these smaller collections, vivid ones especially, we really become attached to these pieces, and it's difficult for us to think about selling them. So, especially with Doc's work and yeah, Cybers and Ella's, and I
True.
could go on and on, but we're
Talking
just
about
not letting these
Ella's,
things go.
you know which one do we have here? Look, uh, that's the
That's
collaboration seal, and we have DocT special edition.
see,
Of
that's
course.
Oh,
awesome, and if you follow Doc T's seal, then it's easy for you to find this work. And I think if people are missing one aspect about ordinals and how we organize collections, this is it. This is the
Mhm.
beauty of parent-child.
Yeah.
You just have to know that inscription number, or another way to do it is get a website forwarder, so a .com address, and
Yeah.
forward right to that parent.
True.
DocT on ordinals.com, and it goes right to the parent, and then from there
Mhm.
you can see the entire
It's
body
a
of
good
work.
idea.
And for me, that's powerful.
That's a very good idea. Yeah, I love it. And it's funny because now I remember that we were also experimenting at that time with parent child. I believe this was the first collection, like Vortex by Ella, was the first collection that has these intertwined artist seals, because we wanted to do these 6 special editions welcoming new artists here on Bitcoin, and we did artist seals for every one of them. And those special editions have 2 parents, the collection parent but also another parent. So I believe it was the first collection that not every piece in the collection has the same parents, and there are some of them that have multi-parent, and that makes them rarest, and that's super cool. I love them. I just remember
Man,
that
that's really, really cool, and that's how we
work.
collaborate on Bitcoin. That's how we prove the collaboration, if you will. And on a little tangent, what I'd like to add is that using the multi-parent was a lot of inspiration behind how to build out
The
a
chunk,
provenance tree for chunks, for Bitcoin chunks.
Bitcoin chunks.
And we're demonstrating that by having artists co-create, if you will, within the provenance tree, and linking their artist seal
Hmm.
as a co-parent for their chunk collection. So, again, you guys are just showing us the way, and we have to have innovators to do that, so that other people can follow and can put their own spin on these things. But the dual artist collaboration is just so powerful, and it
Hmm.
just links everything together in only a way you can do on Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. What I was saying about in my first article, just linking your seal, your artist seal, to other artist seal. Such a great way of getting visibility, but also giving authority to your seal for in the future. And I was just exploring here, randomly Oli's seal, and uh, and I can discover his work. But like for example, this one I missed. I knew about this particular collection that he did about this year, but I missed this one, and I'm just discovering it today with his seal, and that's super cool. And I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if those are collected, but you can just check. Like, look, everything is fine, everything is perfect. It's a reinscription, so you can go there on the SAT and discover everything. Okay, so both are in the on the same SAT. It's such a cool way of exploring everything. And I just wanted here to add Monkey's comment. Everything about this is so powerful and beautiful. I'm so happy that there will be additions on this piece. Yeah, I think that a lot of people are going to be happy because there was only one, but now with the additions, a lot of people can collect it. So thank you, Monkey. Well, guys, I don't know if you wanted to add something. Anyway, we're gonna announce everything next week, so uh, don't be afraid. There is still time to have a piece by DocT. Up, let me put it here back. Okay, weapon of mass. Up. Well, thank you so much, Base Chain, for coming and for approving our work once again. I wonder if one day you won't. Please do it if you don't think it's good enough. And yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting DocT's and inviting him to come to Bitcoin. I know that you also played a huge role in that, and having him working with us. So thank you so much. And Doc, are you ready for next week then to see how people react to
Very,
that?
very ready. Yeah. I mean, again, we have like multiple things going on in parallel here, but they all work together so nicely. So also from my end, base chain, thanks a ton for showing up, for your comments, for taking the time out of your day, for everything you've contributed to Vivid, for my path within the ordinal space. We artists create art, but the guys over at Vivid, collectors like you, you are part of creating the artist, and I think that cannot be overstated. We do so rarely, but it is the truth after all. So yeah, very much looking forward to this drop. Also, looking forward to the conversation with our collaborators over at Gamma, which has not yet been scheduled, I think, with a particular date and
We
time,
will.
but we will, and we will do so soon. Yeah, so
Exactly.
keep a lookout on the timeline.
Yeah, and I also wanted to quickly mention the work by Lemon Hayes, and Ordinali. Great work. I discovered it last week when they announced it. Really amazing thing, and I wanted to mention that because of what you're saying before, base chain, about doing this kind of very detailed provenance and well structure. And Ordinali is always doing such a great job also on the inscriptions part. So people are taking it seriously, and I understand if you are an artist that it takes time, and it may be scary at first, but once you do it 2 3 times, and you have your structure in mind, and every time how you are going to do it, it doesn't take long, but it's really really worth it. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
Stuff.
Okay.
Doc, I appreciate the kind words, Captain. Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to jump on with you guys. And you know, when I'm trying to introduce new artists to Bitcoin and how to do things, one of my poster boys, my big poster boy, is DocT. Like somebody that just came on the scene. There were a couple of us that spotted the brilliance like right away, and I'm just glad that he had an open mind and was willing to essentially take a risk, because that's what he did. When he came to Bitcoin, and he's in good hands. So now when we're bringing new artists to Bitcoin, we can just point to DocT, point to his body of work, how he's executing. The branding is just on point. Like, you're the man, Doc. I mean, I love it, dude. I love it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes,
uh,
sir.
Also, guys, thank you so much for listening. Mr. Wagmi, thank you, Mr. Wagmi, for reposting this live show. Like it and repost it before we leave, so more people can see it. And see you next week. Then see you next week for Weapon of Mass Liberation. Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a
See you
good
guys.
one.